Hey guys, this is a tutorial on the piston elevator I made. Now I called it the Single Column Piston Elevator because it only uses a single column of pistons, funnily enough. Okay, so I'll show you it working. This yellow one here is the ground floor, that one there's the top floor. So if I haven't selected a floor, then it will just go to the top. Cool. And as you can see, it's every second torch is on. Now I call those the main torches, and these ones that are off at the moment are called secondary torches. Cool, and I'll explain what those ones do in a second. Okay, so I'll reset. Okay, and as you might notice, every time a main torch goes low, turns off, it sends like a pulse up the output column, and that's where those secondary torches come in, because if they're not there, it can get into some funny places where you can't actually turn a piston on or off. If you go to the one below it, it turns the one that's below it on and off, and then the one above it turns the one adjacent to it on and off, but it doesn't actually turn the one that you want on and off. So that's why I had to have those secondary torches in there. Okay, so I've also added floor selection to it as well. It's actually really easy to add. None of the internals in here is actually changed at all. I just had to add extra line and do some a little bit of extra stuff like a double inversion there, but that's it. Yeah, it was really easy. Okay, so that's telling it that I'm going to go to the orange floor, and then up it goes. Cool. And now down it comes. There's also a delay in resetting from a floor that's not the top level, and the reason for that is because the reset line is fed into the top, and it takes a while for it to feed down because it's effectively resetting every torch, even though the top ones aren't on, but it does it anyway. And that's just the way that I've wired it, just to keep it nice and small and stuff. I just wanted it to be as small as possible, and this is what I got. It's still pretty big and complex, but it's the smallest that I've seen. Okay, so now that I've showed you it working, I'll explain how it works. Okay, first of all, I'm not going to explain how this works, but this is a pulse extender, so when when you push the reset button, it just extends the pulse. Take my word for it, you can copy it if you want. And then that feeds that into the top. Okay, and the set is actually fed into the bottom. So when you set it, it sets. Well, actually, I'll start from over here. Okay, so what I'm using is set reset latches. Are pretty basic. If you don't know what they are, look them up. Pretty much, they just hold like a memory bit. So they just keep what like a state that you set them in. So like I was saying, if you set them, then this one's going to turn on. The very bottom one's going to turn on, and then I've got them all feeding into each other. So once that one turns on, the next one above it turns on, the next one above it turns on, the next one above it turns on, and so on and so forth. And then when you're up the top, they should all be on. All of these ones should be on, because all of these represent the main torches. The secondary torches are these things that I'll explain a bit later as well. Okay, and when resetting, you want it to go in the reverse order. So I've fed the reset into the top, and then that feeds down. Cool, and that's the way that I've done it. So I've this is a delay here. You need this. You definitely need those 8 ticks, just because it gives time. It gives time for the pulses to feed up between the two, between the main torches. Yeah, if you don't have that, it won't work. So add those in, and as you've probably noticed, each level is actually the same but in the opposite direction, and I've done that on purpose as well, just because it stacks really nice. So as you can see, this white line on top goes that way, and then the red one is swapped, is like pretty much mirrored along this line here, and that's the same for everything pretty much. The same with this section as well. Actually, you probably can see that by looking at the red and the green. Okay, so that's pretty much how the main torches work. So it's just set reset latches, all linked together. So the sets are linked together from bottom to top, and the reset is from top to bottom. Yeah, and then so what happens from there is these outputs get fed into this bit of the circuit. And what this is pretty much just a double inversion here. So one, and then it goes on. So that's just displaying exactly what that latch would be doing. And then this top level's a bit different. I'll skip that one. You just leave this one with nothing attached to it. But look, if you look at this red level, you can see that it's actually getting fed into this bit here. And what this is a negative edge trigger. What is, whenever this goes from high to low, it triggers a pulse in here, and that changes this torch, what's the main torch, and then it also sets off another one into this one. So this bit here is actually changing the state of two torches. It's changing the state of the white one above it, and then the red one above that, and that's where the output of the main red level is. You can probably see that. So that's the red latch there. It feeds through, and that's its main torch. And then it also, when this one goes low, so from high to low, this negative edge trigger works. It sends a pulse through. It turns that one, it puts a pulse into this one, so that one goes on, off, and then because of this delay, what is very important, you must have 7 ticks. This one goes on, off, so it goes off, on, off, and then it keeps feeding through, because that main torch there, if you look at another level below it, so say it was the blue one that went off. Because that one goes off, it actually this negative edge trigger over here triggers, and it does the same thing. And the delays are just right that it does like a cascading effect up there. So these delays are very important. You want 7 ticks to going into the secondary torch, 4 ticks going into the actual negative edge trigger itself, so it kind of like delays the pulse generation. And then this one actually isn't so important. You can have it at 2 or 3 ticks, but this is the actual pulse length. And I mean, you can actually have it 1 tick as well, but it's a bit buggy. You probably would be better off making it 2 or 3 ticks. I've got them set at 2. But my other one, my 12 piston one, I've actually got set at 3, but it makes very little difference between 2 and 3, but you can have them set at both. Yeah, so that's pretty much it explained. It's quite complicated. The reason it looks so messy is because, once again, I wanted to make it as small as possible. Pretty much, once you've got one level down, you can just make the whole thing, because so this red level here is the exact same as this blue one, and exact same as this red one here. They're all exactly the same, and this red and green one are opposites. So they're just mirrored along this main line here. That's pretty much how that thing works. One other thing that I wanted to quickly show you before it gets too dark is the the floor selection. So this is just a basic latch. This is probably the latch that you're most common with. So just once I push this button, it latches high, and then that gets fed into this green. Well, actually, it's getting fed into the line that feeds the set up to the above latch from the green one. So it's kind of like stopping. If you can see here, this kind of acts as an OR. So if that one goes off, what it would normally do to turn that one on, it's not actually going to have an effect now, because this one is high, so it's always going to be off, and then this one's never going to turn on, and that one's never going to turn on because this one feeds into that one. And that gives us the high, the orange level, and you can actually set it at any level you want. You just have to count how many levels up you want to go. So say I wanted to go 2 levels up, or 2 blocks up, I would have to go in and change the white to the blue one. So I think it's on this side here. I'm not too sure. It could be on the other side. It is. There it is. So I'd have to change that bit there, and that's just a double inversion with getting fed in there. Yeah, so that's pretty much how it works. One thing I'll quickly show you is what I mean by the whole burying it under the ground. Okay, so pretend this yellow block here is like the actual ground, and you've got this all buried under the ground and you can't see it. It's just like a desert like that maybe. So whoop, go down. Okay, so I've got it going to the orange level, but that doesn't matter. And pretty much what happens is when I push the button, it's going to make a column come out of the ground. And I don't know any other elevator that does it to that height. Obviously, you can get 1 and 2 piston elevators that do it, 1 or 2, but this can do up to 6 if you want it completely hidden, or the 12 piston one can make a 12 high. But the thing is, it will be made out of pistons. It won't be made out of sand, because a 1.72 piston can only lift 12 blocks. So that's pretty much how it works. Bear in mind those timings were very important. So it was actually probably this one. I'll show you this one first. So this is the reset, the feeding down delay. So you want 8 ticks for that. You want 7 ticks for the secondary torch. You want 2 or 3 ticks for the pulse length. You need this 4 ticks in here, and I'm sure there's one other one, but I could be wrong. No, I think that's it. Yeah, all the others are just set at 1. So all these repeaters here are just set at 1, just to give a tiny bit of a delay for going up and stuff. Cool. Thank you.